welcome to the DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. Blenderhead. Blender HT. You're going to follow me on Twitter. And it's Monday, June 26th. And you know what we do on Mondays. We use alliteration and say Mondays with McCool. James McCool, the co-author of The Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports with me, the 15-hour audio DFS Masterclass you can pick up at theoryofdfs.com, as well as the advanced players course, which includes James's custom Excel tools that I use on a regular basis, including the MMA slate over the weekend, where James, my negative variance continued, where I had 75% of the fight that got stopped in 30 seconds for an eye poke no contest. So that didn't go very well. When will it stop? When will my bad luck in UFC? Everything else was fine. I could have done totally well if Taffa and Lane didn't both get zeros. I mean, essentially, like, nothing really happened. It was a quick eye poke, and that was it. No contest. So, have fun. Nice and have fun. Play later. See you next week. Yeah, so that wasn't very good. Let me just say hi to the people in the YouTube chat. Hit that thumbs up button. You know how much I like the thummy thumbs. The early birds. Lucky Guesses is here. Hey, haven't seen you in a while. He's been killing it in MLB DFS. What's been up with you? I hope your luck's been better.
My luck?
Well, it seems like it's in the past shows. You had live final seed, winning 10K every other slate. It seems like the past couple of slates in MLB, it's like, oh, is this stack chalk? Well, here's 40 runs. The Angels put up 25 runs or something over the weekend in Coors Field. So I'm glad I kind of take off. I take off for baseball over the weekend because I probably would have lost more money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've ran okay. I think I'm maybe down $500 or something like that this last week, which really isn't bad considering so much. I think it's like maybe, I don't know. It's not much, but like I did run a little bit bad. I stacked Tampa Bay yesterday, which I thought was a fair.
That's always supposed to work. Apparently, the Rays always put up 8 runs.
Yeah, well, you would think. They only put up 3 runs, and one of them was on a wild pitch, so that didn't go out very well. But I thought they were a viable alternative to Atlanta. What we're finding out is that there are no viable alternatives to Atlanta. They just constantly score 10 runs with 4 home runs. There's no fading them. So, God forbid we end up with Atlanta in Coors during the live final, and I just have to, drink bleach the entire time because I have to figure out if I want to play that or not. And of course I would, because not only is Colorado's bullpen the worst thing right now, like it's just an auto attack, and Atlanta is an auto stack. So we've just this last week has been a lot of Atlanta and Coors and like attacking the Rockies, and that kind of stuff is just annoying, but it's just 1 week out of the season.
Did your sim say that it doesn't matter what the ownership is, you just got to play what everyone else is playing?
I mean, that's kind of what Atlanta has been, yeah. Like pretty much every single day, it's like, yeah, just stack Atlanta. Like, but
it's not like they're cheap though.
No, they're god expensive. They're
right. Well, I mean, that kind of I tend to look at that. It's like it's not just in DFS. It's not just like what team is going to put up the most runs, players get the most points. It's like it's all related to salary. Mm-hmm. And the Brave stacks. I mean, you're spending like to get a premium Brave stack. You're spending $24K in total.
Yeah, you are
for a 5-man. I mean, there's really no one cheap. I mean, it's not like Ozuna's cheap anymore. Like you look.
No, I mean you've got Orlando Arcia is probably the cheapest player on their.
Arcia, is that how you pronounce his name? Or I thought it was Arcia.
It might be Arcia. I don't know, man. I don't pronounce anything on live.
It truthfully doesn't matter. I mean, when people make fun of me on name pronunciation, it's like, well, what do you not watch the sport? I go, exactly. I don't know. I don't listen to broadcasters or anything, so I don't know what it should be, but I believe it's Arcia.
It might be Arcia. I don't know. But he's probably the cheapest one on that stack. Maybe Eduardo Escobar was. Or no, Eddie Rosario. Sorry.
Right.
It's either Eddie Rosario or Orlando Arcia. And those guys are still like 3,900. So like Michael Harris is 4,200 batting ninth. Acuna 6K, Albies 5,500, Riley 5,200, Matt Olson 6K. Like you're paying 25K for the stack. And so that was like one of my main points yesterday. I'm like, okay, Atlanta is going to be gross chalk. You can afford them mostly because for whatever reason, Tyler Glasnow was 8,900 yesterday. And Yuri Perez was 82. Kikuchi was like 75 or something. Like the pitchers were cheap yesterday. So it's like they're god awful expensive, but you can probably get a better secondary stack if you pivot away to one of the cheaper powerhouse teams. And it was actually working pretty well until Matt Olson hit a home run, and then Acuna hit a single and then turned it into 2 steals and a run. And it's like they're just so good at everything when it comes to scoring fantasy points. I have a metric over at Paydirt called event per plate appearance, which is expected home runs and stolen bases for a hitter per plate appearance. And Acuna is with a large sample size, because that's a stat where it's like, oh, somebody has two plate appearances and they have a home run in each of them. They have a 100% expected event per plate appearance, right? So like a smaller sample there can be a little bit misleading. But Acuna consistently is at the top of this chart with like 400 plate appearances or something in the sample that I'm using. And it's like, bro, it's so hard to fade him even at $6,400 because he's going to get a stolen base. He's going to get a home run. He's so good this year for fantasy. You
sure it's not pronounced Ronald Acuna?
It might be Acuna. I don't know. I don't care.
It's not. I'm just gonna, every name you bring up that could have a possibly different pronunciation, I'm just gonna say it.
We call him Kunada in the Discord because somebody misspelled it once. So that's how I pronounce it. It's Kunada.
Well, I mean, we've seen this year with the increase in stolen bases that guys that not only could hit home runs but get on base and score extra points with stolen bases, like Corbin Carroll.
Yeah.
For instance, I mean, it feels like the pure power hitters, I don't want to say are less valuable, but I mean like a guy like Stanton. I'm obviously he's not back or anything, but like those types of guys where it's like, yeah, they can hit 2 home runs, but they're probably not going to do much on the bases.
Right.
Like it's some of these 6K guys that could hit a home run and steal 2. I mean, should we be pricing some of these guys? I mean, we've seen the prices come up. I mean, are we going to see regular 7K hitters?
No, that would break the pricing algorithm. I just don't think that that's like even feasible for what DraftKings can put together. The only person that might get there is Acuna. But we would have to be talking like if he's not already 7K with the season that he's had, he's not going to be 7K. I think.
At some point, you never know. I mean, DraftKings is just slow. What is he on FanDuel? I mean, like, I don't play MLB on FanDuel, but I have to think that he's close to 5K.
I'm literally still not able to log into FanDuel. So
Really?
Yeah, really?
What is your account blocked, or are you still getting like captured?
No, I'm still. They send me. I tried to change my pass. I tried to log in, and then I tried to change my password, and then it sent me to another link to change my password. I changed my password. It sent me back to try to log in. I tried to log in. It gave me the perimeter X block, and then now when I try to log in, it tries to send me to another page to reset my password. But because I don't know, or it didn't like register my password when I tried to log back in, I can't log into FanDuel anymore.
How about support? You probably have a support ticket that's like 17 weeks old.
The FanDuel support who said that they were going to get back to me in like 4 days, and then when they got back, they accused me of not knowing how to log into FanDuel. I said I had a back and forth with this poor individual who works for FanDuel. I don't know why anybody would want to do this, but I had this back and forth. I was like, okay, well, I have tried to log into FanDuel this many ways, right? She's like, well, did you try to reset your password? I'm like, yes. Like, well, then there shouldn't be any issues. And I retorted back. I was like, do you play DFS? Like, do you actively play on FanDuel? She's like, yeah, I play every day. I'm like, okay. Do you try to log in on your computer, or is it only on mobile? It's like I have no issues on both mobile and on my desktop. Like, okay, so you're telling me right now that today, because I know multiple high rolling and like high value players that cannot log in today. You're telling me that you, Jenny, can log in today and are having no issues with
You
perimeter.
don't have to pick on Jenny.
I was picking on Jenny.
Why'd you call out Jenny?
I was very mean to Jenny because she works for FanDuel. I don't care. She doesn't have a soul. So like, and she.
Do you have any money? Do you have any money on FanDuel?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, right, you would know, right?
I don't remember. It couldn't have been much. Might have been like, I don't know, maybe a couple $100 at most. Like I never played.
I could get on. I mean, I could get on FanDuel.
Well, I assume that if I wanted to go through the issue of like dealing with customer support and getting all of my stuff reset again, like I might be able to, but I have no reason to. I'm not going to play there. I use
not even for NFL. I'm going to play for NFL.
That's the only sport that I might play. And that is only if there's a gross pricing issue. Like somebody is priced disgustingly wrong. I have played maybe 4 slates of NFL in 5 years over on FanDuel. And it was mostly because like there was a slate where I remember it was like 5 years ago. Jarvis Landry was priced like as a 4th string wide receiver and he was starting or something. And I just jammed in 150 lineups on it just because.
Well, the thing about FanDuel, like Chase Simmons says in the chat, I'm only on FanDuel and now I'm having problems with desktop, with the Are You Human and no issues on mobile. I mean, that's the main thing. It's like I don't multi-enter when I play on FanDuel. So like I'm the only time I don't know when I'm logging in on desktop. It's on mobile because I'm playing 3 to 5 lineups at most, and I just set it on my phone. It seems like from what I could tell that no one is ever really having an issue with mobile login, but it's the desktop stuff. But obviously, if you're like a 150 maxer, like you ain't using the phone. You're going to be logging in and uploading a CSV, and if they're going to act like you're a robot, like all the time, doesn't matter. You cannot convince FanDuel. Like FanDuel is very skeptical. Like they're really like they're just afraid of the robots. And it's like, are you sure you're not a robot? Right? Here's a picture. How many traffic lights? What spaces have the traffic lights? It's like, okay. We thought that was too easy, right? I know the robots. Truthfully, the robots probably control the traffic lights. So now we have to say which one of these spaces contain an aardvark. Like we don't know. I don't think the robots know the difference between an aardvark and an armadillo. So maybe you're a human. It's like, but maybe you're one of those robots that just like that loves aardvark. So how many spaces does this is there a boat in this picture? I mean, it's just like really like
no,
dude.
It's disgusting. It's legitimately the stupidest thing that man, I can make an entire podcast out of just hating on FanDuel, but the fact that they own a larger market share of the betting in America than DraftKings does just speaks to how inept Jason Robbins is at running a sports book as well. Like,
should I mention the fact that FanDuel sponsors a lot of our shows here?
Yeah. Well, I don't care. We sponsor this show, so that doesn't matter to me.
We tell it like it is. We tell it from the player's perspective.
Yeah.
Like, okay, FanDuel admittedly is softer on average.
Yes.
Than DraftKings. Playing on FanDuel is profitable. Yes. The format's is slightly different. Obviously you can't do everything on one. I mean, if you're going to play on a million sites at once, it's tough. So it's like, I have no problem with like playing on FanDuel other than it's hard to actually be able to play on FanDuel. Like that is the issue. It's almost like we'd like to give you money, right? But I'd like to be able to log in. I'd also like the contests to not have merge tags in them anymore because it makes it feel like, is this contest being run well? I mean, is it scoring? I mean,
it's that stuff. The thing that gets me with FanDuel and the thing that like maybe is the most asinine part of their entire scheme over there. It's like they'll run a slate. It's like 3 to 4 games with legitimately like $30 worth of action available. Like we're not talking. We're talking like 4. Like I think one time I measured it. It was during it was the beginning of baseball season when we had still NFL and NHL around, or no, NBA and NHL. There was a slate where there was a total prize pool for the entire slate of $150. It was like 3 contests. Why run it?
There's some people that really wanted to play that slate.
No, there were not.
Did you see the opposite of that, James? Did you see what DraftKings did over the weekend when they moved that game? Like, there was a game that was moved up because I wasn't playing with
Detroit. Minnesota, Detroit.
Right. It was a 140 game or something that they moved up to 12-10, and DraftKings had a showdown contest for that game, and they didn't move they moved the time, and it seemed like they didn't change the contest to compensate for the extra 2 hours of time. So all the contests overlaid. The entire lobby overlaid.
That showdown was the Cubs and the Cardinals.
Okay, so what happened? All I saw is that people posting like this is the best plus EV slate of all time.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, no, it was ridiculous. So the Chicago and St. Louis showdown game locked at 9:10 a.m. Central Time, 8:10 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so there was a really early game.
Really early, and there was no promotion of it.
But the reason is this happened.
No, that was another issue that they had.
Okay. There's another issue. Okay.
But that Cubs St. Louis game, that was massively profitable. Every single entry was at least $2 in EV. It was 100% EV.
Right. It was 100. I mean, double ups weren't even half filled. I mean, if you entered the contest with just a dummy lineup, you would have doubled up.
Yeah, that was ridiculously profitable. Catching that, somebody mentioned in the Discord, and I just went and fired in everything that I could find. That was funny. Minnesota Detroit was the other one where it was a 1:40 p.m. game, and then they moved it up to 11 a.m. And then instead of making the slate time different, they just said, "Oh, we're just going to exclude this game." But FanDuel, on the other hand, was like, "Oh no, we're going to add this one. We're going to move the slate up now." So if you have systems that are built off of a DraftKings lobby and not a FanDuel lobby, like somebody that I could mention that might be on the show, that's name is James. It really messed with the way that systems are ran because I had to then manually enter all of the information for that Minnesota Detroit game, which is super annoying. DraftKings has an issue when it comes to stuff like that, where if a game moves out of a window, they'll just be like, well, it doesn't exist anymore to us. We're not going to remove the salaries. Don't you worry. But that game just doesn't exist anymore.
But isn't that the better way of doing it?
I don't think so.
I'd rather them not move lock time earlier when I'm not aware.
Well, actually, no, that's right. I think that they handle it right, but they do it in a weird way. They say oh, the game has been moved out of the window, so these players are not gonna accrue fantasy points as if it got removed completely. But I think that caused a lot of confusion.
Well, they read it out. They have a red thing. They have I mean, it's not awful.
It's not awful. I think
it's more if they included the game that got moved up. What ends up happening is that you go to sleep at night going, okay, there's a 1:00 slate. I'll make my lineups at 12:30. It's like, oh no, we moved up the slate till 11 in the morning, and there you go. You didn't edit your lineups. I mean, they shouldn't do that.
No, I agree with that, and that's what FanDuel did. That was literally what FanDuel did. So,
FanDuel gonna FanDuel.
Well, right. So I don't know. Those.
Well, do they think, James? Do they think? What I mentioned about waking up, not realizing that the slate has been moved up earlier. That's something that would bother humans. But robots are at their internal time, the time, and all that information, robots would pick up much easier. So since FanDuel assumes that everyone on their site are robots, they're just well, we'll just move up the slate because robots don't have to sleep or anything. They're not going to miss it.
Do you want to know my actual theory on FanDuel not caring about that perimeter X issue? Here's my actual theory. This is me not memeing. You can actually hook into the FanDuel API after you have registered your contests and populate your lineups into your CSV through their API. You can do that.
That's how we get it here at RotoGrinders. So yes.
Which you can do that without having to log in. You can just send it through an API hook, and they might think, I would not put this past them, that every single 150 maxer is doing it that way. They might.
What does it matter about the 150 max? How about just a Joe Schmo with one lineup that wants to win?
But they do not care literally at all about that person.
The humans don't care.
They do not care literally at all. Like lucky guesses. FanDuel does not care about DFS. Their revenue all comes from betting stuff. Absolutely. They do not care about DFS at all. I think they legitimately believe for some reason that every person spending a decent amount of volume, like 500K plus on their site per year, is only using their API hook to change their lineups. I think.
But how are they uploading it if they can't log in?
I don't know.
That's how they make their money,
right? By just stealing people's money.
Dead lineups. Did you also see on now that we're talking about this stuff? Did you see on DraftKings over the weekend or maybe Friday? They promoted because the way that these sites promoting their SGPs, they're built in. Like, do you want to bet on this? We'll present it to you. Did you see that DraftKings had an SGP for the Reds game? That one of the legs of the SGP was Ellie De La Cruz to score over 4.5 runs, which was obviously a typo because it was supposed to be the Reds to score over 4.5 runs. And I have to think people still bet on it.
People probably still bet on it. And if that was the game where he hit for a cycle, somebody might have been able to win on it.
No, but 4.5 run. It was only paying, I think, like plus 185 or
hilariously bad odds. I hear you.
Right. It's like the most runs that have ever been scored by one player in a game, I think, is 6.
Yeah.
And I think the last time anyone has scored 5 runs in a game was maybe 19 years ago or something. I think I saw on Twitter. So it's like over 4.5 runs for a player. Like I know he's good, but they obviously changed it. But someone screen capped it, and the fact that it was like the featured SGP in the DraftKings Sportsbook app means that I guarantee you people did say, "Oh yeah, I'll take this."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they probably lost it, and DraftKings probably said, "Oh, well, nothing we can do about it."
Right, but if it was the other way around, they'd probably say, "Oh, we're going to cancel that leg because it's obviously a palpable error." Right? Imagine they put in the total of the entire game over 4.5 runs, and it's like, "Oh, it wasn't supposed to be that. It was supposed to be just the Reds to score over 4.5 runs." Like this is.
They'll keep backtracking. Yeah, and keep trying to find a way. That's what they're doing. So what?
And of course, with their SGP rules, if one of the legs is canceled, isn't the whole thing like just void?
Yeah, it's not on FanDuel. If one of the legs gets canceled, then it just reestablishes the odds.
Right. Well, what it's supposed to do for parlays, I'm not 100% sure, but I always thought on the if you had a regular parlay. Right, and you can obviously tell I don't do parlays, right? So this is why I'm not that sure. But on a regular parlay, if I want to parlay 5 different games together or something, and one game gets canceled or pushes or something, then it just becomes a 4-leg parlay, right? And it just pays out whatever it should for those 4 legs. But on SGP, since it's only one game, like everything locks at one, like the props are all at once. That, if one of the legs gets voided, like the whole parlay it's like you never make, you get a refund.
Yeah.
But if you had like an 8-leg SGP and 7 legs came through and one was just like, well, this guy didn't play at all.
Yeah.
So we're voided, like the whole SGP is like, you don't get paid on the 7 as if you have the 7 legs.
That did happen during the NBA season. There was some big parlay. I remember there was a big stink about it on Twitter because there was a really big parlay. It was like 9 or 10 legs or something. And the only one that missed was a guy who didn't play. And it was like under on his points scored or something. And DraftKings voided the SGP because they were like, "Oh, well, the guy didn't even play." It's like,
right, because the normal one would expect with parlays that if one leg is voided, that it becomes a 9 leg. But you're telling me that FanDuel does it that way?
Yeah, FanDuel, I'm pretty sure reestablishes their odds. One of the major books does. I'm pretty sure it's FanDuel, but they reestablish.
I think maybe the highlight of this conversation is that single game parlays typically have 20+% holds.
Yeah,
sometimes
massive.
30-35% holds. It's very rare to get SGPs to have low holds. If you just forget about them in entirety, you'd probably be more profitable.
Yeah, probably. Just go if you want to make SGPs, just go over and do it on PrizePicks.
Which is not the greatest of odds either.
No, still bad.
Right. But it probably still play. I think some of these actually may pay better on PrizePicks.
They do. There's a guy in my Discord who ran a simulation of all the different kind of combinations and everything. And there's actually some pretty nice EV to be had and some nice win percentages to be had based on certain combinations. Like the PrizePicks is certainly profitable. The only thing that frustrates me about them that I was certainly skeptical about with Monkey Knife Fight was that they never really disclosed the hold or the odds, which always kind of bothers me. Like you'd have to go over to a different sports book and like check to see what the odds would be on the SGP you were putting together. And that's always kind of annoying. I'm sure somebody has put together like a way to just do that in your browser, but that was something that bothered me when it was first starting up.
Well, I mean, they don't want to disclose the fact that they're screwing you.
Right. No, I get that. I understand.
Right. It's like, this should be this, but we're going to give you this price.
Right.
We're not going to tell you that.
Like they'll give you like plus 280 on something that has more realistic odds of like plus 400. It's like, I don't know, like the user interface is nice on PrizePicks. But certainly I think if you just went over to FanDuel and went to their sportsbook, which they actually care about, like probably be able to put together a better parlay for a little bit better money.
Right. Well, that's why I said it depends on what you're doing. I think we're talking more about the SGPs.
We are.
The regular parlays.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that PrizePicks and Underdog allow you to do is they allow you to build correlation into your cards.
Which is nice. Which is really nice. And actually, FanDuel, I think, does too. I think you can build an SGP including things.
No. SGP, sure, but the thing is that the price that they're giving you factors in the correlation. Like PrizePicks and Underdog have straight payouts. If you do a 4-pick power, it's 10-1. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's 4 different games or 4 things. Now they may, like PrizePicks won't allow you to have a pitcher versus an opposing batter. It won't allow you to have, the same player in 2 cards. You can't say, I want this pitcher under Ks and under pitcher outs. Like you can't do that. You can't do that on Underdog either. But on Underdog, you could do the opposite. I could do, pitcher has more than whatever Ks, and then batter has under 1.5 total bases.
Yeah.
Right. Because obviously the more strikeouts one pitcher has, the less likely that other people are getting on base because they're striking people out.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. I should probably get involved more with PrizePicks. I've been saying that for what,
but you're in Tennessee. You could get better odds just straight prop betting on the sites.
And that's the other part of this conversation. Yeah, that's the other part of this conversation is like where you're located. Like I think that you should pretty much just be doing SGPs if
not SGP. Well, I mean not SGPs, just straight prop.
No, straight prop parlay things. Like instead of doing PrizePicks. If you have
because when Kentucky goes live, hopefully maybe by NFL season, but hopefully by the end of the year.
I would bet by NFL season, yeah.
Right. I'm much more. I mean, I'm going to look at, if I see, the rushing prop 57.5 over on PrizePicks and it's 57.5 over on the sports books and, it's minus 115. Like, I'm going to bet on the sports book because why am I going to build a 2-leg parlay with minus 137 odds?
Right. Yeah.
I'm getting minus 115 for the same. I mean, like, yes, there will be occasions where maybe that prop is maybe it's going to move. It's minus 145 and it's minus 137 on PrizePicks. Or it may be the type of thing where it may be minus 115 at this on DraftKings or wherever, BetMGM, FanDuel, whatever, and obviously the 2 pick on Prize Picks makes it minus 137. I get more edge, obviously higher EV on the sportsbook prop, but maybe I could only get down X amount of dollars.
Right.
It's like, well, I guess it's still profitable on Prize Picks, just less profitable, and this is a way for me to just get more money down.
Yeah. Are you limited on Prize Picks yet?
I don't know if you call it a limit. I mean, I can't do more than like 4,000 in one day, and no more than I can't win more than 1,000 on a single player.
So you're limited.
Yeah, I'm limited, but not like absurd. Not for my purposes.
Yeah,
because I'm a nit. It doesn't feel like I'm limited because I'm putting together like $20, $25 cards and round robining like, you know, 6, 7, like that type of stuff. So like and that probably maybe even keeps me a little bit under the radar, a little bit more than other people. And I always say that I always have to reveal that like Prize Picks is an Underdog, I guess. I mean, they sponsored stuff here at RotoGrinders. So maybe the type of thing where my account doesn't get as limited because I'm a host here. I mean, I don't know. Hey, I'm saying that, and I don't even know that.
Yeah.
But it feels like other people that are doing the same things as me and pretty much, you know, putting together the same cards as me on Prize Picks and Underdog. Like people have told me, it's like, yeah, I'm doing what you're doing, and now I can't put more than 100 down on any player, right? I can't win more than, you know, $300 on a player, or so, you know, I can't do more than 500 or $1,000 in a day in action or something. So you have to just choose why. It's one of those things of like, yeah, I can still do it, but I just got to choose why. It's like the best edge stuff, I just put it down, the 2 best ones, the 3 best ones, and that's it, because I can't make any more round robin combinations other than that. See, Alex Santi's in the chat. I can't win more than 1K on prize. I can't win more than 1K on a player.
Yeah.
On Prize Picks. So like that's and when I'm doing $20 round robins, it's like, well, that's $60 on a, you know, I'm winning 60 on that. And then the next one I'm winning another 60. So imagine how many, like I could still get down like $4,000 in action and not have to, and never win more than 1,000. Because also I'm not putting together like 5-leg card, because you put down a 5-legger, you know, 6-legger, you know, like they paid 20 to 1. It's like, well, if you put down a $50, you're done on all the players, because that's $1,000 when you win. I'm never building those cards. I'm only building like 2 picks on Prize Picks.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and I honestly think that that's kind of like the secret to this, I guess. It's like, I think that so long as you are prudent with your bankroll and understand what your goal is on things like Prize Picks and sports betting in general, like limits probably will not hurt you unless you're an absolute outlier example. A lot of people worry about
people get limited even when they're not sure.
No, but I think the people get limited, but I don't think the people get limited to the point where they can't achieve what they are trying to do. And if they do, then that means that
I got an email. I got an email in from someone that is limited on DraftKings, and I'm pretty sure that I don't know what they're doing. That they're probably limited to the point where $3 bets. I mean, look at PointsBet. I know they're probably being bought by some other company. Fanatics is bidding for them. DraftKings may buy them.
Yeah.
But dude, like PointsBet, I mean, I think it's a meme at this point of like, how fast can you get limited at PointsBet? Let's can it be 2 days? Can it be 4 days? Can it be, and it doesn't, and I'm not even talking about like dude, if you just wander into closing line value, they treat you like a pariah. So I don't think it's just like it's an outlier case. I think if you show any semblance of a pulse, or a brain, like you you're gonna get to that point. I mean,
yeah.
You have to find. That's why having a lot of books.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, this is why having 20 accounts on different books and having Prize Picks, having Underdog, having Sleeper, having a lot of outs. Right. Obviously, you could get into the weeds and get like PPH accounts, local bookies. I mean, like there's stuff that's outside of the regulated space. But I mean, haven't I said on this show for 2 years pretty much, once we got more sports betting legalized, that beating the lines is not the hard part.
Right. It's always
getting the money down, and that's like 95% of if you're gonna do this for any substantial amount of money. And when I mean substantial, I'm talking about 6+ figures.
Right.
Something where it's like this is, you're gonna live a nice living just doing that. That's 95% of the work. I mean, it's partnerships, it's syndicates, it's getting accounts, paying out accounts, and that is like literally 95% of the work. 5% is actually, beating the lines, or either top down, bottom up, whichever way. Now, can you make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year, like that level? Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely realistic. Can you make beer money? Can you make forfeit? It's like, oh, I'm going to be up $5,000 on the year. Can it pay for your family vacation? Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%.
100%. That is not only realistic, like, especially with all the promos and the bonuses, like, it's almost like, how do you not do that with some sense, some semblance of, bankroll management and just finding the biggest edges and do that.
Yeah.
But like 20, 30, 40,000, 50,000 in that range, that's absolutely realistic. But if you're coming in going, yeah, I'm going to make $500,000 this year sports betting, I'm going to make $1 million. Like, you ain't doing that with just like, I'm going to sign up with my own account, and I'm just going to I'm going to bet $500 to $1,000. I'm going to bet $300 props. It's like talk to me in a month. Right?
Yeah.
30 days later, you'll be like, well, how am I supposed to make all this money when I'm limited to $21 a year and $7 there?
I think that's what I was saying. Like, I worded it wrong, but I think that what I was saying was that if you have modest goals when it comes to sports betting, I think that like the limits probably won't kill you. Especially because I think that one of the big things is when people go in and have a significant amount of success early and are betting in those like $300, $400, $500 per bet ranges, that's when books are more likely to be like, nah, you need to step down. But like, if you go in and you have success with a modest amount of money and you're aiming for that $25,000 to $50,000 per year range, I think that's what I meant when I said that your way of doing it with Prize Picks, where you're not aiming to have more than $1,000 in any given day. Like, I think anybody is
right. That's doable. You could go. I mean, I think you could go out, especially with like home run props.
Yeah.
Right. A little bit that have you're not betting $100 on these props. You're betting $5.
Right. Yeah.
You're going, okay, I'm going to bet on 20 different home run props for $5, $10 a piece. And if you hit 2 or 3 of them on a day, like it's a profitable day. I mean,
right.
And then you have some strikeout props. You have some, and if you're just dealing with MLB, like your goal is to, I mean, dude, 7%, 8% props, but you probably 10% ROI.
Yeah, 10%.
Right. You could probably, so I mean, if you're putting down $1,000 in across the board and a whole bunch of props that you have a good edge on, like but your expected return is $100.
Yep.
Right. So imagine doing that for the entire baseball season for what? Almost 200 days. That's $20,000.
There you go.
I mean, that's the approach, but you have to think of it in those terms. It's not like I'm going to find the 2 or 3 biggest edges and then hammer them $100, $300, $500 at multiple books. It's like, dude, you're going to be down to $20 and then you're going to be like, well, what do you do now? Well, now you have to make it up in volume. So if you were going to have to make it up in volume at some point anyway, why don't you just start at volume?
Yeah, just start with it.
Right.
That's I think the biggest point here. It's like it just comes down to, if, especially for people where or like people in our industry where we are in DFS and then we also have betting that we could do. Like, I think that the general mindset for somebody who's in DFS is to take probably like a similar approach and slam your edges as hard as you can. And that just, you need to focus more on volume, I think, when it comes to sports betting. And I mean, I certainly am talking a little bit out of like not super great experience here because I don't do a lot of sports betting, but that's the way that it seems to me. And it seems like you agree and you do a decent amount of this stuff.
Right. Lucky Guesses says I can't bet more than $5 on any player prop on DK, and PointsBet literally limited me on my first bet.
Yeah.
He said I tried to bet $300 on a home run prop with insane value. They took 100 and then basically wouldn't take any prop bets from me after that. So I just withdrew my money. Yeah, I know PointsBet does have the best home run odds, but you can't get any money for $1. If you want to bet $1 on a home run prop, you could do it on PointsBet. I don't know how you do anything more than that because they won't even allow you.
Yeah, they'll just limit you.
Why even bothering having the menu? Why even bother at that point? I guess there are some people they don't mind taking more money from. I guess I've never. I don't know. I'm not like completely involved with like gambling and sports betting Twitter or whatever. I've not seen anyone that I've followed or people that have followed the people that have followed or retweeted anything of like, oh yeah, here's a winning ticket, $500 at PointsBet, because like to me that's like the tell.
Yeah.
Right. If you show a ticket where you bet $500 on PointsBet and you won, like I can only imagine how much losing bets that you placed there for them to allow you to bet anything on any substance on PointsBet.
It's like when people post like somebody bet $1 million or something like that on DraftKings, and you're just looking at it like, yeah, you might be positive now. You might be a profitable person after hitting that $10 million parlay with your $1 million up front. Like,
right. People post these 3-leg, 4-leg parlays, $20,000. I'm like, there's a losing better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy to tell, but and that's one of the problems, it extends over, and then people look at that and they're just like, oh man, this guy won this guy must be a professional bettor. He's able to put down $20,000 and like, that's his bet size. Like, that's
no one's normal bet side. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be able to get that money down all at once at one book without being a loser.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But people don't see that. Consumers don't see that. And that's, there's a lot of grifters out there, especially in the gambling space.
Consumers are betting the over 4.5 Ellie Dela Cruz runs on SGP.
Right. It's so gross. It's so gross. Have you played much this baseball season? I haven't seen you playing too much.
Well, I mean, I was away for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
I come back, MMA, I baseball a little less. I mean, but I'm doing more prize picks and underdog. I mean, like it's just the edge there compared to DFS is just, it's similar and it's lower variance.
Yeah.
So it's like it's more if I have enough on prize picks and underdog, like I just don't play DFS that. I mean, like it's one of those things, James, where before this show, sometimes I'll check the night before also, but a lot of times they don't put up enough stuff.
Yeah.
Before this show and right after the show, I'll check MLB props on prize picks and underdog, put together as much stuff as I can at the current numbers. And then if there's enough stuff available, like that exhausts my risk for the day.
Yeah.
And the thing is that once I'm done with that, like, dude, I don't have to check lineups. I don't have to build anything. I don't have to like, dude, lock at 7:00 or whatever comes and goes. And like, dude, I'm not even sure. Like, but I don't even pay attention. I don't have to pay attention to anything. I don't have to.
Yeah.
There's nothing for me to do anymore. Like, there's no thinking. There's no nothing. And it's like, if I could get an 8 to 12% return on that for that amount of work, and I've already exhausted how much my percentage that I plan for the given day, for the given slate, for the given card. I mean, like, I'm done. But sometimes there's like, oh, there's really nothing here. There's like 2 or 3. I'm gonna plug these in and then be like, okay, enter the 121, play 3 to 5 lineups. I have like $400 or $500 in play for DFS, and then I have like 200, 300, 400 in props, and be like, okay, there's my 1K type of allotment. But sometimes there are days in baseball, and especially in the larger slates, that maybe I have like 10, 11, 12 things going on Prize Picks and Underdog, and it's like that could be three. I mean, I could exhaust my I have 4,000 already going there, and it's like, remember, I'm using the same projections for DFS, so it's these results are going to be correlated to some extent, because like if I have a guy's over Ks, like it's most likely they're underpriced in DFS also.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a guy's under Ks, I'm going to have much less of that guy in DFS, right? If I have three players from the same team under 1.5 total bases, do you think I'm going to have many stacks in DFS because I'm using the same projection set? So to me, since they're correlated like that, like why? What am I doing? What am I doing in DFS any different than the props? So all I'm doing is increasing the variance and increasing the risk, and I've already exhausted the amount of money that percentage wise that I'm comfortable risking on that given day.
Have you considered using DFS as a way to hedge your Prize Pick stuff? I'm sure that people wonder about that.
Why would I be doing that? The whole point is to take advantage of the edge in the market.
Sure, no, I get it.
Right, like if I have the Braves as overowned for their projection, they're most likely the lines reflect that also, right?
Sure.
A lot of the times, yeah, I know. Lucky Guess it says DFS is so ownership dependent, though.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting to. I mean, like,
yeah, but most of the times, the reason why there's an inefficiency in ownership is because the projections I have are lower than what the field is playing, and most likely, if they're lower, I'm probably also have the props.
No, but I mean,
betting market is also probably doing the same thing.
We have seen ownership get really, really condensed, and that's specifically why I asked this question. It wasn't necessarily because of the projections themselves.
No, I agree with you. I want to highlight, James, that the second part of what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. That I'm not saying there isn't an edge there, but you know how there's a life EV part of the equation. Yeah. Of like, well, once I got all this money down and it's noon and that's what I'm comfortable with, like, dude, the rest of my day is open. I mean, I don't have to check. I don't have to. I could do something completely. I could go play. I'm going to play poker. I'll be gone for 10 hours, right? Yeah. I mean, I could do whatever. I could go to a movie or go out to eat with my wife or watch wrestling. There's a wrestling show tonight. And I don't have to. I'm not checking my phone. Yeah. Is the catcher from this team really? Is this guy really in the lineup? We have to wait for this team at 10 o'clock. Like, some of that is, yeah, there's an edge there, but I mean, I'm still getting plenty this other spot. So, like, okay, I can't change anything at that point. So I'm done for the day. And then there are other days where, well, there wasn't anything going on early and for props, and okay, so I'm set my alarm for 5:30, 6 o'clock or something to remind me, and go to my computer and spend an hour and a half going through running lineups, and okay, this is what I'm putting in, and then once I'm done with that, I'm done, and then I still have the rest of the night to do other things, because do I have to watch the games? No.
Yeah, I hear you. Just figured I'd ask. I'm sure that some people wonder about that kind of thing, and we've been talking a lot about how to look at this kind of stuff. So I figured I'd ask that question before somebody else did.
Like, you're only one person. You can't do every. I mean, but there are some people that like grinding the hell out of things. I mean, especially on a smaller bankroll, I could see if you're single, if you're in your 20s, right, and you're like, no, I'm gonna spend 12 to 14 hours a day just grinding out every edge I could possibly find.
That's awesome.
Build up my, you have a couple $1,000 bankroll. It's like, I want to build this up so in 3 years I have 100,000. In a couple of years, maybe you have 500,000. Like that's absolutely then go. I mean, there's all these edges, but I mean, let me just tell you, I know it sounds unfathomable, because when I was in my mid-20s, I was that type of person of every waking moment, like I'm playing poker, I'm living the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Now that I'm 44 years old, like I know people in their 20s are going to be like, I'm never going to be like that. It's like, no, when you get to your mid 40s, like it's like, you know what I'd like to do today? I'd like to live in a place where I'm not crammed in an urban center, right? I could have a nice lawn, right? I don't have neighbors that bother me or any like noise. I have a parking spot and a garage. And in the middle of the day, instead of playing poker or grinding out whatever, sometimes I just want to lay on the couch and take a nap.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, like you're gonna get to that point and then be like, oh, isn't it great that I'm able to do that and not have to have a job that I hate in the
Right.
process and have to wake up whenever I, like you're gonna get to a point where that is gonna be more important to you, like that sanctity of, wow, yes, I don't have all the money, right? You're right, but I have a comfortable living, doing something that I love, and if I want to binge watch a show on Netflix all day and not grind my cock off, that's perfectly fine. And then just like, okay, that's what I feel like doing today, right?
Yeah.
And have money, so instead of me going out and mowing the lawn, that you just pay someone to do it. Here's $30, go mow the lawn, like that. Like, to me, I'm living the best life, right? But when you're in the mid-20s, you look at that and you go, suburban dad life type of thing. It's like, I don't have any kids, so like,
No,
I
no. And let me tell you, even as somebody with a child, suburban dad life is the best. Like I have no desire to go out and be like somebody who is living life to the maxes. Like I really, really enjoy having a point between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. where it's just nothing. Just I'm just gonna hang out. I might play some video games. I might order some Chinese food. I might take a nap if I'm feeling really spicy. I don't do it as often as you want to, but I might do that. I don't think that I have ever really desired to be somebody who really, really grinds. I have always been somebody who desired to have a life that feels comfortable and like I don't really have to answer to very many people outside of myself. And so I'm with you. I think that's
suburban dad life. Or so, what would you call it if it's not a dad? Just like kind of just, I don't know.
Suburbia, man.
Right?
This is suburban life. Just live in a house.
When I was 24, 20 years ago, 24, I was like, I want to live in the center of everything in New York City.
Hell no.
Right? No. And like, oh, I could just walk out of my apartment, get anything I want, everything is here, and then you get to a point where it's like, enough of this. Enough of the people, enough of the takes 45 minutes to get anywhere, right? And then you get to a point where it's like you don't even want to go anywhere anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, why? I mean, that's why am I living in the most expensive place in the country if I'm not going to go anywhere or do anything, right? I could spend the same amount of money and get like 14 times better standard of living in general. And right, you're in Clarksville, I'm in Louisville, like.
Yep.
We live like kings.
Yeah, we do. I've got 3,500 square feet in my house, man. I've got a room I don't even use. we got plenty of room here. We live 20 minutes away from the closest Publix, and I'm happy to drive there with my child and get him an apple. Like that's the life, man. It's life.
Right, and I live closer to us, in the middle of a city, but still kind of a suburban section of Louisville, which is much bigger than Clarksville, but. Yeah, the Kroger is 60-second drive, right? I have to pull into the parking lot and park, and like I could get from my house to the doors of Kroger, in and out of my car in 3 minutes.
Technically, there's a Walmart 6 minutes away, but rather go to Publix.
Oh,
just rather go to Publix.
Right. That's what this show is going to turn into. It's going to be just. Right. And you're way younger than me. Well, I mean, you're like 15 years younger than me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've always kind of been like an old person since I was like 8. Like this is just kind of the life that I've always wanted to live, man. I was an insane person for 5 years between 18 and 23. I got all that out of me, and now I'm very happy to just be in my own space and recharge, and hopefully one day be able to buy a nice house that has one more room than I need on an acre of land without neighbors within 2,000 feet of me. That's my ultimate goal. That's what I want.
Maybe you'll win the live final, and that could be that you could do it.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that I win the live final so I can just like go buy a house in Brentwood. That's the goal.
Well, you can see more of James, paydirt_DFS on Twitter, paydirtdfs.com. All-Star break is coming up. We'll have a conversation next week about things that you're looking to work on over the All-Star break for MLB. I mean, it's kind of the slow part. I mean, we pretty much only have MLB as a main sport. Like here until like NFL preseason, it's kind of look back and and spend some time doing other things, other projects, upgrades, stuff like that. So we'll talk about that next week. Hit the thumbs up button. Give me the thumbs. If you like Suburban Dad Life, right? Smash that like button. Even if you're not a dad, right? James has Suburban Dad Life. I do. I guess my dog, right? Our dog is we treat him like he's a kid, right? Right. He probably gets more. He gets special food and he has health insurance, whatever. It's almost like paying for a kid. But if you like that type of stuff, hit that thumbs up button. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live. We got baseball today. We got Grinders live. We got Crunch Time. We got the PGA stuff, MMA stuff. We got everything right behind the paywall. All the projections, all the ownership, all the articles, all the everything. Hit that link in the description. Get $10 off your first month. If you want to learn more structured learning on the strategy of DFS, theoryofdfs.com. Get the 15-hour audio masterclass as well as the advanced player's guide with the custom Excel tools. There will be no show tomorrow. Okay, there just wanted to programming note, no show tomorrow. Then I will be back on Wednesday. I believe there's going to be a Grinders live either Wednesday or Thursday, but I'll still be there on Thursday or whichever day it is. Get your questions in. Questions at theoryofdfs.com for those days. Friday, MMA First Look. And me answering your strategy questions about DFS or sports betting or prop betting or any of these types of sites. Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern on the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.